So there are some key ideas about trig that we want to keep in mind when we're doing trig problems. So one of them is that trig is about equivalent ratios. Okay, so we're dealing with equivalent ratios. So that means that when we have set up trig ratios, we can set up a proportional equation. So when we do the tan of 30 degrees, we end up with 0.557. What that means is we can write a ratio of opposite to adjacent, or rise over run, of 0.577 to 1. So the rise is, or the y is going to be 0.577, and the run, or the horizontal, will be 1. So that's one thing. Another thing is that we can, when we want to convert angle to ratio, there's two things going on here. We have shape defined with angle and shape defined as ratio. They're really telling us the same thing, but they're telling us in two different ways. So if we want to convert from angle to ratio, or ratio to angle, we need our calculator. So the way it works is that if we have an angle, and we want to convert it to our ratio, we use our calculator and we use our sine, cos, tan button. So sine, cos, tan. But if I want to go in the opposite direction, I need to use an inverse. So if I want to convert my ratio, I need to use arc sine, or inverse sine, arc cos, or arc tan. Okay, so if I have the ratio, if I have the shape of a triangle based on two sides of a triangle, 1 and 1, I have my shape, I can use the arc sine to get the angle of 45 degrees. Okay, so that's two main ideas, and we want to keep those in mind when we are doing trig problems. So in this case here, it says a cat on the ground is 50 meters away from the base of a pole. So I'm just going to sketch a quick diagram here. I've got a little cat. There's my little kitty cat. Eyes in there. Okay, and it is 50 meters away from the base of a pole. Okay, and the pole is 20 meters tall. So I've got 20 meters here. I've got 50 meters here. And I've now described the shape of this triangle based on the ratios. Okay, so I have 50 and a 2 to 5 ratio to describe this shape. But I want to find out the angle here. So it wants to measure the angle of inclination. Okay, so the measure of inclination is a measure of the angle measured from the horizontal up. And what is the angle of inclination to a nest? So we've got a little nest up here with a little bird. Okay, so there's a bird in here. Okay, so we need to convert the ratio into an angle. So we have the shape as a ratio, or side length, and we want to convert it into an angle. So we're going to go in this direction. So I need to use my arc sine, arc cos, or arc tan. So in this case, I have opposite and adjacent, or rise and run. So I'm going to use arc tan. So I know that tan of angle theta equals 20 meters over 50 meters. Okay, I can't solve this because my input is what I'm trying to solve for, so I need to rewrite it with arc tan. So I'm going to use the inverse tan of the ratio, and that's going to give me the angle of inclination. So I need my calculator here because that's not a special angle. So inverse tan 20 divided by 50 is going to give me 21.80 degrees. So theta works out to be, from my calculator, 21.80 degrees. So we're going to round that to 22 degrees. So the answer is A.